Anita, how's your mental health?
Questionable at all times. You know this.
Yeah, how's the mental health of your children?
Also a little bit tricky. Can I tell you my experience in trying to find therapists for myself and my kids, Mel?
Yes, please.
Okay, this is how it goes. You ask around your friends and your family for a referral for somebody who's nearby. You finally find somebody who sounds like they might work for your family. You give them a call and you find out that A, they're not accepting new patients, or B, they have a huge wait list. So you start over again and you ask people if they know anybody who would be a good therapist and a good fit. Finally, you find one, you go and you meet with them and you figure out that you don't actually like them that much. But it's been so much work to find somebody who you can go to in your area that you're kind of stuck with them. Well, do you have any ideas for how to get around this?
I do, because guess what? I've actually had some therapists that I have found on my own, which involves what you're saying. Sometimes I remember one time I was like 3 hours in the bathtub on my phone looking
Yeah.
through websites. I was such a prune at the end. But I have also had the experience with working with BetterHelp. And it was like, I don't want to say too good to be true, but because it is true, but it's like amazing because I was matched with my therapist within 24 hours.
And you didn't have to go through all of that other ridiculous process of trying to find somebody. And here's the cool thing too, is if that person didn't work out for you, you can just switch and say, and it's not like you're committing to another years long search for somebody who you're going to jive with.
It's true. And I lucked out, or maybe just BetterHelp is really good at matching people together because I never had to change my therapist. I loved her. Perfect fit for me. And I know that some of our friends have used BetterHelp and they've had to change therapists, and boom, same day, you can change.
Easy peasy.
You can ghost your therapist. Get a new one.
I love this idea. BetterHelp is one of our sponsors. If you use our promo code trybetterhelp.com/WWDN, you get 10% off your first month. And we totally recommend it.
Yes, get some therapy. That's trybetterhelp.com/WWDN. Hey everyone, it's Mel, and guess what? I am in Norway, and I'm not with Anita right now, and so it's just going to be me at the beginning of this episode. First of all, shout out to any widows in Norway. Do we know any? Do we have any? If we do, please message us. Be fun to hang out. Also, this weekend, Saturday, August 12th at 12 p.m. Mountain Time and 6 p.m. Mountain Time, we have our hangouts online, and those are going to be in Facebook in our Widow Wives Club group. So be sure that you are joined up, and we would love to see you there. All right, on to this week's episode, and we hope that you are all having an okay week and surviving or thriving or just existing or breathing or eating all the candy. That's kind of what I'm doing. Have a great week.
All right, Mel. It's time to do an interview.
It is. I wish that all of you could have witnessed the last 16 minutes of all three of us just in real widow life with broken brains.
And
Just
try to
living.
figure some stuff out. Yeah. Let's figure out who we're going to interview today. Why don't you tell us your name and introduce yourself to us, mystery guest number one?
Well, hello. My name is Abby Ewell, and I love you all.
Oh,
Oh, your name is perfect for that. I
oh
love
yeah.
you all.
Oh, that's perfect.
Wait, you didn't do that on purpose?
but now I will.
That's so cool. Abby, where do you hail from?
Oh my gosh. Well, I hail in the state of Virginia, and I'm in Chesapeake, Virginia, which is about 45 minutes where I grew up in Virginia Beach.
Okay,
Cool.
so you really spread your wings and flew.
Just like you, Anita.
Well, I flew 3.5 miles away from my home. So
Wait, how many miles is it for you,
3.5.
Abby?
Oh,
Oh, for Abby.
Oh, me, it's about 45 minutes. Yeah, so like we're called like the 7 cities. So we have, Virginia Beach, Norfolk, Portsmouth, Chesapeake, Newport News, Hampton, Yorktown, a couple. So really, it's like if you said you were Virginia Beach, you could be from any of those places.
Does
Yeah.
Virginia Beach have a beach?
Yes, it's beautiful. It's beautiful, and it's a big, like, a destination. So in the summer, it's packed. Hotels could be $900 a night, and then in January they're $30 a night.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Good to
yeah.
know.
So we'll come visit you in the winter.
Yes, yes. In Chesapeake, you can come stay with me.
Yes. Abby. Okay. Since this is a podcast and we have to know about everybody,
Yes.
how old are you?
I am 43.
Are you 43 yet, Anita?
Solidarity. No, but I'm going to be 43 soon. So.
I think when this comes out, you will be 43.
That's true.
Oh, happy birthday.
Okay.
Tell us a little bit about like what you do for your, daily activities. Do you have a job? Are
Well,
you a sorceress?
Darn it. Well, do you say I'm a mistress?
No.
That would be the best.
Are you a madam? She's like, yes, I am.
Are you an escort? I want to hear stories.
Today. No, I am not. So I went to college and I got a job in sales. I got married and I had a stepdaughter, and I still went to work, but it was in sales. So it was very part-time. So I could still be a mom that I wanted to be. And then I had my firstborn, and he was about 8 months old, and I stayed home. I quit my job and I came home and I said, Tim, I did it. I quit. And he was like, what? What? And I was like, isn't this your dream? And he was like,
oh no. I mean, you could have said you quit momming. Like, it could have been worse, right?
Right. It was the best thing ever. So he was a carpenter and had his own business. So he was, yes. So he had started that when he was about 20 years old. So we were able for me to stay home. After that, I had 2 other kids. So I was home with 4 kids, and it was wonderful. The best thing ever, a dream. And then when he died, I started running his company like that Monday.
Holy cow. Wait, also, can you tell us about Tim? Who in the world is this Tim character? How do you know him?
Well, I was married to him and I love him.
That's how she knew him. She's like, I knew him because
you were just born married to him.
And so I got married to Tim, and then so he died. It's been like 4.5 years. So November of 2018 is when
we're
he
like
died.
the same person almost. We're really close on timelines.
Serious?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
Ooh. I have more questions though. So Tim was a carpenter. What did he carpenter? Like, did he build cabinets and tables, or was he like building houses?
All of the above. He was specialized in like windows, doors, stairs, interior trim. We always laughed because it was like anything that made the house look perfect, that was him. And so I'm the type that, like, if we picked lamps, I wanted 2 different ones. And he's like, I just need them to line up, to match, to make sense. And so that's why he was like that, because every corner had to be perfect, like everything. So he was all the like the finishing part of a house.
Okay.
Nice.
So Mel, he probably had the gift of measuring also.
Yeah,
like Anita's dad has that, and Scott had the gift of knowing that 2 lamps were not matching. I would pick them to not match.
right.
I have another question that's completely unrelated, but my dad is a carpenter also. And so I have this like really strange love of the smell of like shellac and wood stain and like sawdust. That's like very soothing to me, but for most people that's like a noxious odor. No. Do you have the same thing where you're like,
I think what I love is like the sound of the tools. Like if I can hear a saw start, I'm like, oh shoot, he's probably calling, and then I can't hear him, and then it's in the background, and that's why he talks so loud, because he's always talking over tools, and so I love sawdust on jeans and sweatshirts, because you're like, oh my God, it's everywhere.
My mom hates that. She's like, please blow yourself off in the wood shop before you come
Calm
upstairs
down.
with the air compressor. Okay. But
Yeah.
okay, I feel like we've learned the end of the story before we learned the first of the
Right.
story. So we're
I
all
just
we're all muddled in here, but keep going.
Okay, so then when you ask what I do for work, that's what I did. So Tim died on a Saturday night, and I went to starting as my new role, owner of a carpentry business, Monday. And so the last 4.5 years, that's what I did. And I always say, like, I learned everything I didn't want to learn, but and it was terrible because I was trying to learn, trying to know what I was doing, trying to keep everybody happy, keep the guys having a job the whole time, not knowing first thing about it. And so just recently I sold the business to a really good friend of mine. And it was like I couldn't have been lined up perfect. So right now I don't work. I am unemployed currently.
Or retired.
I'm retired. I'm retired. Yes.
She's living the life of luxury.
As a mistress.
Yes.
Did you learn how to use a table saw, a
No.
jointer, a planer? No. Okay. A drill press. None of these
Well,
things.
I knew what the names were. Like I knew what everything was. Where I kind of came in, I was thinking like customer service. I could get the jobs, meet the people, take pictures, measure everything, then give it to my guys for them to do the job. So I never did the labor part of it. And I even would say like, oh, I should learn. I should be doing this. I should be able to go take all the classes and get everything. But then I'm reminded I have 3 little kids at the time. And as my best friend says, it's good enough. Like we just did what we could do. Like I wasn't going to build a house with my own hands with my 4-year-old and broken heart. So
I have this vision of the house that you would have built, and you were talking about how all those corners met up perfectly of the trim and how it would look like a Dr. Seuss house or something with everything like
and I'd be like, it's fine. See,
every which way. And you're like, that's what it's supposed to look like, customers. And they're like, this is not what we had in mind.
No. Yeah. So, and it was hard because he was so good at what he did that everything was, oh, Tim did this. Tim did this. We used to use Tim did this work. And then I was coming in and I was always trying to honor him. Some of the guys had stayed that he worked with. So a lot of the guys were still doing the same work, but it was hard because, he was the whole business. It was him. And so, just trying to keep it going was just a struggle in itself.
Yeah.
So what happened to him? I know he died, but like what happened?
Yeah. So he was always one to want all the people around, a big party all the time. And we have a piece of property that the office was on. And so he was like, let's do a barbecue. We'll just not even for my birthday, because that was his birthday month. He goes, but let's just do it in general to get everybody together and just have a good time. And I was like, I love it. I love it. And he was so excited. Like we had, I sent out all the Evites. He had planned all the food. He even built a table for the oysters. Like he was so excited, so happy, and invited all of his friends, like high school friends, growing up friends, work friends. So it was such a big group. It wasn't, just certain groups. And so I like we had gotten a babysitter and we had it all planned out. I was like, I'll go home. You guys can stay, sleep. Whoever wants to stay that night can stay there. I'll go back, take care of the babysitter, be with the kids. You'll come back in the morning, be tired, fall asleep on the couch. We'll go back to our lives on Monday. Sounds good. It was all set. And so that night, he walked me to the car, kissed me goodbye. And I came back home and said goodbye to the babysitter, ate my cereal in bed, fell asleep. And then I had a phone call at like 2 or 3 in the morning. And it was a friend of his. And he was like, he kept saying, open the garage, open the garage. And I was like, no, you guys, Tim knows the code. And plus I'm sleeping. Like I'm not opening a garage and y'all are supposed to be there, not here, and they were really never here. It was like, I think everyone was drinking. It was just a mess. So they were really at the land. So then I kept saying, can you just put Tim on the phone? Like, let me just talk to him because you're scaring me. Like, let me just talk to him. And he kept going, he's dead. He's dead. I just like, I remember like I went in another room because I didn't want to wake my kids up. And I'm in the thing and like the moon is like shining in the window. And I'm like, I'm sleeping. Like, this is not real. This is just, let me talk to Tim on the phone. And then he kept saying it. And then I called my mom and I was like, Mom, I don't know if I'm dreaming. I said, but they've called and said Tim died. Like, oh, so then, trying to remember like all the things that happened. I think I called the police or the police had called me. And I just remember thinking, I cannot leave my kids to drive down there into the scene that's going to have fire trucks, policemen, all these guys. Like, what am I going to do? Like, there's nothing I can't. So I just remember my sister drove over, my parents were on their way, and I had to call his dad who lives down the street. The whole time my kids are asleep. And so, because it's still the middle of the night. And I just remember like meeting the policemen so they wouldn't ring the doorbell. And I just like, I was really like, I keep, like that your wedding, they always say, oh, you won't remember it. It's such a blur. And I remember saying, no, I'm going to remember everything at my wedding. So like, even this night, I was like, I'm going to remember this. So I'm talking to the policeman with a clear head. Like, I'm not going to not know what I said. And so I had to, say who he was, who I was. And then they confirmed that he was dead.
Was his cause of death by oysters? Like he ate too many oysters? Because I think oysters are gross.
I do too.
I just realized I never said what had happened. Okay.
But I've made up some good stories in my mind and they're oyster related. But no, tell us really what happened. Because just in your telling of that story, I kind of feel some of that frenetic, like, I don't know what's going on. Like, they're just telling me this and I'm just like trying to process without knowing the whole story. So anyway, continue.
Yeah. So, okay. So of course it was a barbecue. So there was drinking and all kinds of just things. And so I remember
tomfoolery.
And I remember saying like consciously, everyone will just sleep there, whoever can't drive. And then that's fine. Like, it's a safe place. It's just a big open space. There's a shed. There's it's fine. And we have 4-wheelers. And I never put 2 and 2 together. I never thought, oh, that's not smart. Because I was like, these are grown-ups here, And so in the middle of the night, they had all decided to go on 4-wheelers. And Tim was driving. And like I always say, no matter what he did, I felt safe with. And he, anything he did, he was always good at what he did. So whether it was like wakeboarding, boat ride, anything he did, he was good at. And so I really wanted to believe that he wasn't the one driving it, because that would never have been him. He's so safe in that, being dangerous, but safe in the dangerous environment. But he was driving and he had a friend on the back. And the friend had fallen. And so he had gone to turn real quick to turn around and get him, and hit a bump, flew off and hit his head on a tree.
Oh,
yes.
So not oyster related at all.
And then like the death certificate, you're reading it and it said, cause of death, like blunt force trauma to head. And you're like, oh
my gosh.
Shit. And then I asked him, I'm like was he in pain? Because it's dark. They couldn't find him, all these things. So, but, of course they say things that make you feel better. So they're like, no, it was instant. He was no pain, no struggle. He didn't even know what had happened is what, they would say.
How old were your kids at this time?
4, 7, just turned 10. 4, 8, just turned 10. And then my oldest, which is Gabby, which was his daughter, which was really mine. I just didn't get to born her. But she was, I think like 19, 20.
Okay. So was Gabby in college, or was she working? Was she around? What was her story?
She was in college and she was here. She was in town because it was like that weekend she came back for the barbecue.
But she was not at the barbecue when he died, right?
She was.
She was?
She was there.
So she knew
Yeah.
before you knew.
Well, actually, let me take it back. She was there later than I was there, but she did not know. So when I woke her up that next morning, it was like she just knew it. She goes, "Is it dad?" She just knew it.
Hmm.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I have a question about her. I was going to call her Abby, but your name's Abby. Her
Yes,
name's
which is so cute. So when we go places, we'll have coffee for Abby and Gabby. And they're like,
Oh,
"What?"
okay.
You know,
So is Gabby's mom in the picture at all?
no, her
Okay.
mom chose not to be a good mom. And so Gabby came to live with us probably around like 14 for like full time. And she's like amazing. She's amazing. So for everything that she's been through, I could not beam anymore with pride for her.
Oh,
I love
that's so nice.
her.
But when Tim died, was there any difficulty in Gabby staying with you, or there wasn't any? Okay. That
None.
happens sometimes, and it's like so heartbreaking because the other parent comes and it's like, they're
Yeah,
mine now, and they get taken, or it
you would
changes their
think that
relationship.
she would have called to say, "I'm so sorry." Nothing.
Not
Nothing.
even a call?
Not even.
Oh, okay. Are you
Yeah.
kind of like secretly glad about that though? You're like, I'd rather not deal with that person.
What I love, Gabby, it was all her choice. Like, she decided to be not like she's really black and white. So she was like, my mom's a liar, or my biological mom is a liar. And I don't want to, that's just not the life that I want. And I was like, I'm here for you, babe. I love
Oh
it.
man.
Yeah. So I'm lucky, really lucky. So
She sounds
yeah,
super cute too.
she's so
Oh.
cute.
So it's been 5 years.
Yeah. November of 5.
Yeah. So you're approaching your 5th year in a few months.
Yeah.
So let's talk through what that timeline has been like for you. There's a whole lot of change in there, I'm sure.
Lots of change, lots of change. I just like you always hear like when someone would just say, "Oh, so and so just died," you go, "Oh my God, that first week, that first month, that first year, that first 18 months, it's awful." And then like now, I feel like I just am a full human being. Like I feel like I got my blood back in my veins. They're not like flat. I feel like, the morning I even for so long, it makes me sad. Like for so long, every morning I'm like, it's a good day. You can wake up. You can do this. It's just today. You got this. You got this. You got. I put my feet down. I'm like, okay, first step. This is the hardest step. You made it out of bed. Like keep going. And then the last like probably month since I've sold the business, I'm like waking up before my alarm. I hear the birds singing outside. I'm like, holy shit. I love this life. I'm so thankful. So it's nice to be out of not out of it, but just, I guess, time. The longer it's been, I feel just a little more better about the day.
Sometimes we assume that unless we had a huge life insurance payout, we don't really need to know anything about investments or even finances. But guess what? A little knowledge of finances is critical for all of us. Maybe your partner was in charge of that stuff, and now you find yourself making all the decisions. Maybe you're mad about that. Maybe I am. Nicole from the He's Gone But the Money's Not podcast is here to help. She tackles financial literacy by telling the stories of women and widows and finance experts and shares the lessons they've learned as certified financial planners. Whether you know a lot and feel confident in your financial decisions or feel unsure about all of that stuff, there is more to learn. Listen and subscribe to the He's Gone But the Money's Not podcast on all podcast platforms. This ad was paid for by Rockhouse Financial, an SEC registered investment advisor. So you took over Tim's business, and I remember in those first, few days and weeks, you don't know what to do. Your life has just been, turned upside down. Did you ever consider not keeping the business going and just like letting it, like selling it immediately or letting somebody else run it? Or was it just like you were on autopilot and just kept doing it? Yeah.
And I kept saying, like, I guess, like, my mom will always say to myself, who are you trying to prove this to? Like, what are you doing? And I was like, I want to be able to say to my kids, I tried and it failed, or I tried and it worked, and I just didn't want to ever wonder. And then like a friend of mine, she was even saying, just give it a chance, because you'll just never have to go, should I have tried it? And I also think to end it, all the work for that would have been just too much to handle. Like, it was easier to just call everybody Monday and keep going.
So what made you decide to actually sell the business recently?
I think it was something in me just said it was time. Like, I was just so miserable. And I ended up calling the therapist that Tim and I used to go to like years and years ago. Because I sort of said to her, I'm kind of drowning here. And so talking with her just out loud, she goes, you're sort of living in his shadow still. And I was like, no, I'm not. Like, I painted my house, I've moved furniture, I've got my own this and that. And she's like, yeah, but every single day you're going to his office, his this, his that, his going to do his work. And everything was in his name. So even to go like to the bank, they'd always be like, oh, you're not on our list. I'm like, I'm the owner and I just need to cash this check. And they'd be like, well, you're not on our system. You want to go, oh my God. And then they'd go, can we please speak to Tim? You want to go, nope, he's unavailable. No, you can't. So it was just every day, even to get to the Dominion Power Company, it was just awful. It was awful.
I have a question about juggling all of that. You've got 4 kids.
Yes.
4 kids on their own is just like a lot. And then you're running a business. How did you stay above water?
I didn't.
Okay.
I will say I always would, I did jazzercise. And so it just literally, it saved my life. Like, just the loud music and then the friends, that makes a huge difference. And I have amazing family and friends too.
Oh, good.
And my mom would just let me complain and just sort of bitch about stuff and then keep going on.
How did your kids deal with their grief? I mean, you had some kind of younger ones and then kind of some middle.
Yeah.
Not teenagers, but kind of almost, what do you call
Right.
that? Tweens into early teenagehood?
Yes. It's funny. It feels so far away from it right now, in the sense that from like those early times, they were young. So like my 4-year-old, he talked about him all the time and he kept calling him Tim, and he would say things like, yeah, sometimes I forget what Tim sounded like, or he would be in school and he would always write Tim and draw pictures. And so he was the one that really more or less talked the most about it, and I think was the most affected, maybe not affected, but he I think because he didn't have all the memories, and so my other kids, I feel like I always say, like, the dads of the neighborhood just like took them in. So like if we were at the pool swimming or at the beach, they would be with them, and I even, like, we had done a ski trip, we do it every year. And the first year they were like, will you please, let's all go again. And I was like, I'm only going if you swear to God, you won't help me. You won't look at me. You won't do anything, because don't take away from your family to help my family. Because then I feel like I owe you, and then I'm sorry. And then your wife's mad that you're not helping her, and just leave me alone. Like, just don't even look at me. And then they were like, okay, okay, weirdo, we'll do it. And so I don't know. I guess it's mostly my friends and family that just sort of let me be a little crazy, but just stood by and like let it happen.
Yeah, I identify with that. I'm wondering if the 4-year-old was just more verbal about the grief, like almost like they don't know that they shouldn't talk about it, that it's like taboo or whatever. And the older ones have kind of gotten a sense that those conversations are not necessarily welcome. Because my 2-year-old he was 2 when Jason died, had some of that too. Like, he just says stuff because he doesn't know that it's like weird to say stuff. So,
right,
my dad's dead or whatever.
Right.
And the other ones kind of know not to.
Right, because it's like it's like sometimes when you say it, everyone does the face, they go, oh, and you go, no, I didn't think that. I'm trying to say to you, you can't, So a lot of times I think my kids, like we talk about it a lot, but one time we were all like out and I was like, wanted my toes done. So of course I bring them all with me. And so someone goes, where's your dad? Why is he not here paying for your toes? And then my middle son goes, well, he's at work. And I'm like,
Oh,
but I honestly think he said it because we weren't going to see these people again. It wasn't a big deal. It was just easier to say that because then that guy was going to look and be like, oh, whoa, what happened? Are you for real? Like, so he was just saying, let's just keep it short and move on.
That
So
is interesting.
isn't it? So then we
Yeah.
got in the car and I remember saying like, buddy, why did you say that? And he's like, because I didn't feel like talking about it. I don't feel like always sharing it. Because then every time we go in there, they're gonna be like, oh, there's that family that doesn't have a dad.
How old was that one that said that?
He was probably like 8 or 9.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah.
Uh-huh. I know.
that's interesting that at that age that they would do that. Like, I don't know why I find that interesting. It's just something like, oh, I would totally do that as an adult if I needed to.
Right.
But yeah, it's interesting that he was learning that from his own life experience. I just actually was watching a show about a lady whose dad, when this lady was a child, her dad was on a crime spree. Sorry.
Yeah.
Her dad was on a crime spree and then was in prison, and so the mom and her were in hiding. And she was talking about how at age 9 she was learning how to have different stories for different situations when people would ask where her dad was. And so that struck me with what you just said. And it reminded me of that. And it's like, yeah, we need to, like, I guess, I don't know, kids can surprise you.
I know it. I always I keep saying, like, as long as we're talking about it and they can be sad, happy, like we have good memories. Like I'll always say things like when our favorite song comes on, I'll say things like, God, what in the world do y'all think about this? And they'll be like, well, it just makes, like, one of them would say, like, I'm just happy when I think about dad. Like, I'm just happy. Like, I love stuff. And then some, like today, my youngest said, he goes, yeah, I told my friend I'm not like the best listener at school right now because I don't have my dad to tell me right from wrong. And I said,
oh my gosh,
buddy, I said, first of all, yes, your dad's not here, but if he was, he would have been at work all day. And I would have been the one teaching you right from wrong, just like he would when he got home. But you know better. You got me, your brothers, everyone that lets you know right from wrong. And he goes, good point. Good point.
That's so interesting because kids, their brains go places that make no sense to us. Do you know what I'm saying? Like that probably felt really true to him. Like, I'm having a hard day and I'm blaming it on my dad being dead. And for this reason, even though that doesn't make any logical sense at all, but it was probably true for him. And then you're like, but buddy, like, dude, I'm the one who's been raising you anyway.
But then I like that he said it because I'm going, well, if he didn't tell me that, then he's keeping it inside. And then that's not good. And then I have a hard time, like with everyone getting older, like my oldest boy is 14. And I'm like, damn it, all these things are coming up, like parties, getting in the car, people that are driving. Like, I have to make all these decisions and I got to be the good guy, the bad guy, all of it.
Okay, I have a serious and terrible question for you. How did you talk to your son about puberty? Did you get somebody else to do it?
Oh,
I mean, I'm not shying away from having talks about bodies, but I never went through male puberty, so I don't really know
you're right.
what to expect.
That's why it's so funny because I'm like, okay, guys. So we have talked about it, and like, but my middle buddy will say when he was younger, he'd be like, "Let the puberty rain down on me."
wow.
So again, like, we're super open, but it is so uncomfortable because I'm like, okay, your business is, so it's like, I mean, it's just it's cringy. It's cringy, but they're not cringy. So I have to we'll talk about it. I'll be calm about it. You can ask me any questions. And then the whole time I'm like, oh my God. Oh my God.
I don't know how you guys do it because even as a 41-year-old, I am still traumatized personally
Oh,
from going through puberty as a child. So
There's just so many mysteries about it. And my kids, like, I am a little bit annoying about, like, I just talk openly about sex and body
Yes.
parts, and they're like, Mom, you know. But
Yeah.
with my daughter, I felt like, okay, I know how to talk to her about this. And my sons, I'm like, I have no earthly
Oh my God.
idea
It's
how
just
to
too much.
talk to you about what's about to happen to you,
wait,
because
so
I
what
don't even know.
did you have something happened as far as a conversation with a male family member, Anita, with your child?
Yeah.
Do we,
Like,
or
little
should we not talk about it? I'm curious, but also
I mean,
I'm
there's
scared.
been little snippets. It's been more like reactionary. Like, we're having an issue, and so I like text my brother-in-law, like, what do I do about this? Or is this a big deal? Or like, is he freaking out for no reason? But I haven't ever had anybody sit down with him to have like,
A
I don't know.
conversation. I know
So
it.
ominous.
I mean, we've
sounding.
talked
Let's
about
sit
sex,
down.
but not about some of the other nuances of hair and body parts acting on their own accord.
Know it. Know it.
This is the best day ever. Here we.
We're all like face red, like
I'm still embarrassed from 5th and 6th grade maturation.
oh my God.
However
That's
many years later,
all
so
that
this is scary for me.
Yes.
It's
Yeah.
terrible.
Good luck, Anita and Abby.
Mel's like, signing out.
Bye.
Oh my God. Well, I was going to say, as I was sitting here saying how much I hated work and how it was so awful, I will say there were good parts of it too, because I don't want it to be all bad. It was like I did like meeting people and like going to someone's house and then being so happy with the work that we did. But the behind the scenes is what I guess was awful. And then being gone all day long, always on the phone, like, and just the pressure of the whole income of our family on me. So that's the part when I'm saying it was awful, but the good parts, like the families that were so thankful that they could call us and we could come do the work and they're happy. Noted.
I want to call you to come do some work, and I don't even.
Yeah, you come over here. We have some clogged stuff, and actually,
Yes.
I'm not. I have to put this in. We remodeled my parents' house after Scott died, so we could fit all my stuff in it, basically. Like, because my mom and I both teach piano, so we both have 2 baby grand pianos. I have a bunch of crap gear wise, so I was like,
God,
okay, I'm just gonna move in with them, and I will be the spinster that lives with my parents. So now my dad's dead, right? But anyway, the remodel has only been for like 4 years ago, and the paint like started peeling off 2 years ago, and I think they did a bad job. That's not normal, right?
Bum paint. Yeah, bum paint. Cheap paint.
Now our contractor is like on his deathbed, so it's like I don't know what to do.
Oh my God. You got to go to like a paint store and tell them, and then they're going to say, well, are you near a bathroom? Is there humidity? Is there moisture in the air?
Be like, no, it's literally every place they painted in the entire house.
Cheap paint, cheap ass paint.
Yeah, we paid him a lot of money. Okay.
I love that diagnosis.
Thank you for that. That gives me validation. And also, like, what do I do about it now? Nothing. Now I have to pay someone to fix their stupid
Damn it, yeah.
Yeah.
But you don't live here, so you can't like subcontract.
She's like, I'm not a painter anyway. We were carpenters.
Hello, subcontracts. I know about subs.
I did. That was the best part too. Like I could help anyone find the painter, a plumber, an electrician. That was my favorite part, to be like, oh, I have someone for you. I have someone for you.
Abby.
Yes.
You can tell me you don't want to answer this question.
Okay.
Have you started dating again?
This is the best. This is actually the best part. And I'm so glad you asked.
Can't wait.
Tell us.
Okay. So I had my wedding ring on forever because I was like, I am going to go to heaven. And then when I do, I get to go back to being 38 and Tim will be back to 41 and we'll live the lives we were supposed to have. But until then, I'm good. I'm totally good. I'm I am okay with it. And then everyone would always ask me, and I was always like, oh no, like that's just not for me. Like if there were two of me, I wish I was another kind of person. Yes, I'd be all about it. And then it was like during COVID that I was like, if someone was going to get to know someone, this would be the time, because you could only talk on the phone. You would get to know someone, not just on the first, like you would really have to know someone before you even went out with them in real life. And so it made me open to thinking about it. Then I had a friend from high school that he called, and he was like, hey, I was going to be in town. Love to take you out. This is like a little bit after COVID. And I was like, oh, I didn't think anything of it. I was like, yeah, I'd love to go out there. You're my friend. You're my friend. I know you. Of course we can go out. This is perfect. I'll wash my hair. I'm in. And so then we talk on the phone. And then all of a sudden I was like, oh my God, I really like him. Like I like him so much. And then we went out, and this was about 2 years ago. So it would have been like 3 years, or maybe 2 years. And this was 2 years ago. So we went out to dinner, and I was like, I love you. I love you. I love you. I love you. So he's moved back here since from San Francisco.
Whoa.
I know.
You said it out loud to him. I love you. I love you. I love you.
I was like, we had talked on we'd known each other since we were about 14. And so we were friends. Like we would go visit each other in college. Well, the cutest thing is he was prom king and I was prom queen.
Oh, it's meant to be. Come on, guys.
This is a movie. You are a Hallmark movie.
But the stupid thing was, like I said, I think that I gave it more of a chance because I knew him. I wasn't like this murderer is going to come pretend to be nice for 2 months and then kill us all. I didn't know how it was going to go.
That's so interesting because I always think, man, there's just so much to my story. The only way that there ever could be like a chance of me even being remotely open to anybody and whatever, I feel like I'd have to know them or have known them for a long time. But then I'm like, but I know people and they're all married, or like, I don't ever want to be with them ever. No, gross, ew.
I hear you. I think that's, and I was the same, because I'm going, how would you even meet anybody? You don't really think anybody could be anybody. And I do remember looking with a friend, like on match.com, and there was a guy from my neighborhood that I know he had an affair, and that's why he was divorced. And his whole bio was like, I never imagined my life like this. I'm like, you're a liar, and I know you.
Because he's like, I never imagined my life getting caught for cheating.
Yes. So that's why I was like, I'm never going to go out with someone I don't even know. Because like, so then I would always say, if I wanted to go out with someone, I guess I'd ask a friend if they knew a friend. And so I guess it slowly was where I got to like, I kind of just want to go out. Like, even if I had a friend to just go to the movies with, I was getting to the point where I was kind of wanting to like, just get out, because my kids were a little bit older, and I just was like, I miss telling someone about my day. Like I love telling my mom, but it's different.
Is it because your mom had like opinions about what you should do? She's like, oh honey, that shirt is just does not flatter your figure. And you're like, Mom.
She's like the best ever. But I just was like, I guess I don't know what made me, I guess his timing and it being my friend is what made me say yes. So I had never thought anything past that one night out either. I was like, I just want to get out. And then when we went out, I was like, oh my God, like you're the best ever.
Is this relationship, it's ongoing?
It's
right?
Still going. Yeah. It's been amazing because, and I don't think I just think it's rare because he's super patient. Like he got to meet Tim at our high school reunion. So, and then even like when Tim and I left the reunion, I was like, what do you think about this person? And he was like, I don't know. And then he goes, but that one guy, I really liked him. And it was the guy. And I was like, oh, and even Tim liked him.
Is the guy's name going to be kept secret right now?
Oh, no, his name was Garth.
Garth. What's
Garth.
Garth's story? Does he have a family? Is he divorced? Does he have kids? Is he single totally?
Single and no children. And he's like, I always wanted to have kids. I always want to get married, just never worked. And I'm like, holy shoot.
You are a Hallmark movie.
I know. Like even down to the carpentry.
Yeah.
Come on,
Abby,
it's true.
Are you a real person or are you a plant from the Hallmark Channel?
Yes.
I'm
I'm having my doubts now. I think we've been catfished, Mel.
Oh well, guys, it's entertainment, I guess. Everyone has widow brain; they'll forget soon. It's fine.
Yeah.
That we
That's
scammed
right.
them.
Abby, I want you to tell us about the book that you wrote.
Oh, look, I have it. I brought it. And actually, the best thing is it came out today.
Well,
Like it
that's
came out.
also Hallmark convenient.
So crazy. And so I never intended to write the book. I never even I just like I always say I always just wrote stuff down because I didn't want to forget anything because I thought like you know I love pictures, I love memories. So I'm like if I don't want to forget anything. And it seemed like every week someone was coming and saying, "Hey, so and so lost their husband, could they call you?" Or, my friend lost, and I was like, "Oh, of course," because I like would never I want to help, but then I would meet someone and it was like they're like on the first month and I'm like, "Oh shit, I'm back to there again. Like this is painful for me." And so that's when I was like, what if I could just put it all together and give it to someone and then I don't have to like live this over and over and over again and be sad because then I have to come back home and still fix dinner. So like I was already having enough trouble getting it together. So I was like, this is tough. And then I found y'all's podcast and I was like, you guys make it like so real and funny. Not that it's funny, but it's like
But it's funny at the same time. Like
like you're not
dark.
saying something. You're actually not you're saying all the taboo things in because that's what it is.
We're just blunt. So what's the name
Yes.
of your book?
It's called WTF.
And tell us what it means.
I mean, I think we know what it means,
You
but
don't
what does
know.
it mean for
Wait,
the book?
but you don't know.
Widows that function because you have to keep going on. Like you got to get gas in your car and pay your bills. Like you got to keep doing it. So I was like, I guess I'm functioning and I'm a widow. There you go.
So is the book more of a memoir? Is it like a guidebook for widows, or what? Tell us more about it.
Okay, so it's really like my story. Like even like I was one of the main things that made me think to like look for a publisher was like I remember saying I had like a to-do list and I was like let me like mark something off the list, so then I try to go get a bike fixed or just try to do something and then it was always like a struggle, like the bike wouldn't fit or the store was closed or like it was raining. I mean just well actually it wasn't the bike, it was like I was trying to fit this refrigerator in my car to get it fixed. And so, or it was an ice maker. And then
I was like, you put your refrigerator in the car?
It's an ice maker. And I'm like, great, I'll go get this. I had the kids settled on their iPads. I was gonna like got it all straight and I couldn't get it into the car. And I was like, God damn it. Like I couldn't lift it myself. And I was like, I'm not asking anyone for help again. That's all I do, I feel like. And so that's when I was like, what can I do? So I was like, I'll just get the bikes fixed. We need a new wheel. So I'll put the bikes in the car and I can do that. And I go there and they're like, we're not doing bike repairs right now. And I was like, yeah, yes, you are. But the guy fixed my bike. And I was like, you know what? All it takes is just one person to make a difference. So like I felt that just changed my whole day. So it's just more like little stories, I guess. And then like just also like I reflect a lot. So I'm like thinking like, Tim and I fought over so many things, but we were both like in our 20s and 30s. So we never got the chance to be 50 and be like, oh my God, why we fight about dinner time? Like it wouldn't have mattered then, but it was so important that now or when it happened. And so I guess I'm just sort of like for myself, just sort of forgiving myself and him to be like, we were just jerks to each other and that's okay. Like it didn't change how we felt about each other.
That's so important because I think there's so much regret and quote unquote guilt in just normal living when somebody dies. Like you guys were probably totally fine to each other, but when somebody dies and you're like, oh, we shouldn't have fought about dinner or we shouldn't have fought about, whatever, what kind of barbecue sauce we bought at the store, but it takes a different meaning when the person died, which is annoying.
Yes. And so I think that's what Oh wait. So like that,
Decline.
like that. And so like I guess and I just talk about like Gabby when she graduated from college, she moved away. Um and so it just like I guess I'm also like super proud of my kids because they didn't quit life. Like my daughter, she still moved. And she just I don't know, it makes me sad because I'm like, gosh, they had like, like me, I lost my husband, but they lost their dad, like the person that like was there from day one. And so I guess it just also like, I just want them to know how proud I am of them. And also like to let people, I think I wrote about like, we all know, like nobody wants lasagna when someone dies. Like, God darn it. Like, I don't want fucking lasagna. Like I don't
what do you want?
Yeah.
So just think like even at one part I put like I didn't even know I was doing it, but I put like where to focus, which is still like a WTF, but just saying like things you need to do. Like I even put in here like make sure you get an alarm system because I'm living in a house alone. Everyone knows my husband died and I'm home alone. So yes, you could look it up in the obituary, see someone died, and come kill them again. Like, that's my focus right now.
From Hallmark to Lifetime.
Do you want to hear what my alarm system is?
What is it?
There's just so many Legos on the floor that anybody who enters the house will be immediately incapacitated.
Very smart.
That's good. That's good.
Abby, have you met other widows in your area?
Yes, that's what's the weirdest thing is there are so many people like our age who lost a husband like within 10 miles of me. It's the weirdest thing. And then you go, oh my God, it probably was always happening, but it wasn't part of my life then. So you might have heard about someone, but you didn't really know. And so now you're like, God darn, someone else is going through it.
Is it because of the oysters that you guys all eat in the area?
I don't even get oysters.
Oh, Abby, where can people find your book?
So it's at Amazon, Walmart, Barnes and Nobles, Books a Million.
Everywhere.
I think it's anywhere. Yeah.
Do you have a website or an Instagram where like how can people find you?
Okay, so I made a website, which again, that is a job in itself. But the website is WTF-by-Abby.com. ABBY.
It'd be so funny if instead of www, it was WTF.wtf.com. Dash WTF.
Right? They really should have that.
I want that. That's my idea. We trademarked it today. Intellectual property here.
That'd be actually really cool.
We will link to that in the show notes. So those of you who are listening that would like to find Abby and her resources and her book, WTF, can find that.
Yes.
Abby, we have an important question. This is,
yes.
I'm going to say this is sort of like the, the I am not a robot questions.
Okay.
The CAPTCHAs or whatever. This is how we're going to determine if you are a real person or if you are an AI Hallmark robot.
Okay.
And that is to ask you, what is your favorite cheese?
Ooh, Havarti.
Okay.
Or Brie or Havarti.
You could have two. One stinky and one non.
Okay.
Mel, what do we say? I mean, what was the result of our test? Is she a human?
She is a human.
Okay.
Yes.
Yes. Website access granted. Please accept all cookies.
That's right.
The dumb kind.
Oh gosh.
Why do they have to call them that? It makes me sad.
I know, they're ruining it.
Thank you so much for joining us today, Abby. We have loved getting to hear your story. You are full of a really positive energy. But what I really love is that you're full of this positive energy, but then you also let some of that emotion show through. So it's not like you're a fake person either. Do you know what I'm saying? Because sometimes you're like, are you just putting on a show for people that you're really like bubbly and full of energy? But I believe it. I think you're for real. So
that's really, thank you.
We hope all of you have enjoyed hearing Abby's story as well. Make sure you check out the Widow Wives Club. It's our private Facebook group. Just make sure you answer all the questions. And once you're in there, you can also find your way into the subgroups. If you want to keep the podcast going, check out our Patreon. It's patreon.com/WWDN.
If you'd like to buy us tacos, go to buymeacoffee.com/widowwedonownow.
And if you don't want to do those things, give us a rating and review, a nice one on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. It really helps. And remember the app in the App Store as well, where you can find all the stuff that you need.
For free.
Until we get to talk to you again, I'm Anita.
I'm Mel.
And I'm Abby.
And we are just two young widows and one widow who may or may not be an AI from Hallmark. And we're
Or a real person from Lifetime.
Or we're all just trying to figure out WTF widow
we
do
now. This is my favorite thing to discuss with you.
Tell me, what is it?
One of my favorite things. I do enjoy tacos and cheese and dogs. This is about how you cannot pay hundreds and hundreds of dollars for a phone plan, especially when you're a widow, your person is dead, you might have kids, you might need another option, and you just want your phone to work, you want unlimited texting and service, and you want it to be like $25 a month.
It blows my mind that they have plans that start at $15 a month. That is so cheap. And the cool thing is it uses other 5G networks, and so you don't have to pay extra for that, and you still get great service.
Yep, Anita and I have traveled all over, and I have used my phone. So I highly recommend it. And my mom's even on it. When my dad died, we put his phone down to the cheapest plan, which is $15 a month. And I think my mom's on the $20 a month plan, and it's so worth it. It's so much cheaper than what we were all paying before. So I highly recommend it if you're on a budget or not. Who cares? Ryan Reynolds is in charge of the company, and they send you free stickers with Ryan Reynolds temporary tattoos. It's kind of the best. So if somebody wants to sign up, what can they do, Anita?
Go to trymintmobile.com/WWDN. Seriously, you guys, such a great idea. Save yourself some money.
And if you're worried about losing data or having any changes with your phone, not going to happen. They walk you through it. Everything's fine. It's the easiest process of all time. Again, that's
trymintmobile.com/WWDN.